Well, welcome back to Death of a Sales Manager. This is part 3, and I'm your host, Jesse, ready to take you back into the heart of the automotive industry. If you caught part 1 and part 2, you know we've been pulling no punches, calling out the bad sales managers, exposing toxic leadership, and shining a light on the real MVPs, the salespeople. So today, we're flipping the script, but we're not just talking about what's broken, we're building something better. In this episode, it's all about how to create a winning sales team at the car dealerships. A team that crushes quotas, keeps customers coming back, and makes the sales floor a place where people actually want to work. So we're going to cover hiring, the culture, the training, empowerment, technology, and how to measure success. So buckle up, because this is the roadmap to the dealership's future. So let's start with the big picture. Why does building a winning sales team matter? Well, in the auto industry, your sales team is the freaking engine. They're the ones turning leads into deals, building relationships, and keeping your dealership's name out there. So a great sales team doesn't just hit quotas. They create loyal customers that'll keep coming back and making referrals. Plus, they're going to boost your reputation and make your dealership the go-to spot in town. Doesn't matter if you're a small town, you're in a big city, or hell, if you're on the water. Come on. But here's the kicker. A winning team doesn't happen by accident. It takes deliberate effort. So starting with the right people and the right culture. Now, bad managers, like the ones we talked about in part 2, can tank even the best talent. But the good leadership builds a team that's unstoppable. So let's dive into the first step, which is hiring the right salespeople. So hiring in the auto industry, it can be tricky. You're not just looking for someone who can sell cars. You're looking for people who can handle rejection, connect with the customers, and literally thrive in a high-pressure environment. But too many dealerships get this wrong. They hire based on what they see in a resume or a gut feeling. And then 6 months later, they're wondering why half their team quit. So here's how to hire a winning sales team based on my own experience working with other dealerships that have created successful teams. But here's some insights that I've also found from X posts. Number 1, look for heart, not just hustle. Sales is about grit, but it's also about empathy. The best salespeople genuinely care about their customers. So during your interviews, ask candidates about the time that they went above and beyond for someone. Their answer will generally tell you more than any sales quota on their resume. Number 2, hire for coachability. You don't need someone who's already a sales superstar. In fact, those types can be tough to manage, especially if they're set in their own ways. But look for people who are eager to learn and open to feedback. I read a post from a dealership owner who said that they prioritize candidates who ask questions during the interview. It shows that they're curious and they want to grow. Diversity matters. A diverse team brings different perspectives, which is huge in sales. Customers come from all walks of life, and a team that reflects that can connect better. Hire people with varied backgrounds, ages, and experience. I heard someone talking about a dealership that hired a former teacher and a retired mechanic. Both turned out to be top performers. Why? Because they could both relate to customers in unique ways. Test their resilience. Sales is a grind. Customers say no, deals fall through, F&I's blowing your ear up. So during the hiring process, ask your candidates how they handle rejection and stress. Hell, if you want to, role play a tough customer scenario to see how they react. You want people who can bounce back, not crumble. Also, avoid the quick fix hire. You desperate to fill a spot? Don't just hire the first person who walks in. A bad hire costs you time, money, and morale. So hiring right sets the foundation, but it's only the start. Once you've got your team, you need to create a culture that keeps them motivated and engaged. So let's talk about that next. Culture is everything. A toxic culture, like the ones we talked about in part 2, drives away talent and tanks your sales. But a positive culture, it's like a rocket fuel for your team. In the auto biz, where long hours and high stakes are the norm, culture can make or break your dealership. Here's how to build one that wins. Lead with respect. It starts at the top. Managers and owners need to treat every salesperson with respect. No yelling, no public shaming, no favoritism. Yeah, I've heard salespeople talk or say that, they've had managers that have given them a simple thank you after a tough day. That made them feel valued for the first time in years. Remind yourself that small gestures go a long way. Celebrate the wins, big and small. Did someone close their first deal? High five them. Cut their tie off. Come on. Did the team hit the monthly quota? Throw a pizza party. Recognize achievements keeps your morale high. keeps the team's morale high as well. One dealership I read about, they have this wall of fame, and I'm sure some of you guys have actually seen this, but they post, top performers' names, but it's not just about the money. A lot of these guys like the recognition. Encourage collaboration, not competition. Some managers pit salespeople against each other, thinking that it drives results. It doesn't. It creates resentment and divides the team. Instead, foster a culture where the team shares tips, supports each other, and celebrates collective wins. Set team-based incentives, like a bonus for hitting a dealership-wide goal. Be transparent. Nobody likes being kept in the dark. Share information about inventory, commissions, and dealership goals. When salespeople know what's going on, they feel trusted and empowered. I remember hearing about a complaint about a manager who hid commission changes until payday. That kind of secrecy will breed distrust. Prioritize life-work balance. The auto industry is notorious for long hours, but burnout is real. Encourage time off, respect personal boundaries, and avoid scheduling back-to-back 12-hour shifts. Happy salesperson is a productive salesperson. Kind of like happy wife, happy life. Come on. A great culture keeps your team engaged, but engagement alone doesn't close deals. So you need to equip your salespeople with the skills to succeed, and that's where training comes in. Training isn't a one-and-done thing. It's an ongoing investment. In the automotive industry, where products, customers, and markets change so fast, but a well-trained team is your competitive edge. Bad managers, as we covered in part 2, always skimp training and expect miracles. Winning teams get the support they need to grow. Here's how to do it right. Start with the onboarding. New hires need a solid foundation. Don't just hand them a price sheet and point them to the lot, and throw them to the wolves, as some of us would say. But create a structured onboarding program that covers product knowledge, sales techniques, and your dealership's processes. You can even pair them with a mentor for the first month, or have them shadow someone for the first month, just so they can kind of work their way up. Focus on soft skills. Selling cars isn't just about specs. It's about people. So train your team on active listening, handling objections, and building rapport. Role playing is huge here. Practice scenarios like dealing with an angry customer or upselling without being pushy. I read this on X, but it was mentioned a dealership that runs weekly role play sessions, their closing rates tend to go up 10, 15, 20%. Stay current on industry trends. Electric vehicles, hybrid tech, and digital financing are all changing the game. Make sure your team knows the latest trends. Bring in experts, send them to industry conferences, or use online platforms like NADA Academy. Knowledge is power, and customer trusts salespeople who know their stuff. Provide ongoing coaching. Training doesn't stop after onboarding. Schedule regular one-on-one sessions to review performance, help them set goals, and address challenges. A good manager doesn't just tell you what you did wrong, they help you get better. Also, leverage peer learning. There's top performers in every dealership, and they've always got tricks up their sleeves. So encourage them to share their strategies in team meetings or informal lunch and learns. One dealership I read about has a monthly sales huddle, but where the team swap tips, and it's boosted morale and results. But training builds skills. But skills alone don't make a winning team. You've got to empower your salespeople to take ownership of their success. Let's talk about how to do that. Empowering your sales team. Empowerment is about giving your salespeople the tools, trust, and freedom to do their jobs well. Bad management, micromanage, and control everything. As we heard in part 1 and 2, great leaders step back and let their team shine. Here's how to empower your sales team in a dealership. Number 1, give them autonomy. Nobody likes being babysat. Let your salespeople handle deals their way, as long as they're ethical and effective, but trust them to negotiate, how to follow up with let them follow up with their leads and build relationships. A salesperson on X said their new manager gave them freedom to customize pitches, and their sales doubled because they could connect authentically with their client. Provide the right tools. Empowerment means giving your team what they need to succeed. That includes a solid CRM system to track leads, access up-to-date inventory, and marketing materials that make them look professional. So don't skip on tech. We'll dive deeper into that next segment, but also listen to their ideas. Your salespeople are on the front lines. They hear what customers want, what's working, and what's not. Create a culture where they feel safe sharing ideas. I heard about a dealership that implemented a salesperson's suggestion box to offer virtual test drives, and it boosted their online leads by 20%. Now, a lot of you guys, this may be a little bit outdated and you might already be practicing, but just wanted to throw that out there to some of you guys who aren't taking advantage of that. Some of you dealers. Reward initiative. When a salesperson goes the extra mile, with whether it's following up with their customer after hours or coming up with a creative upsell, recognize it. Bonuses, public shout outs, or even a day off can show how you value their effort. And please, please, please remove all roadblocks. Nothing disempowers a team like bureaucracy or bad management. If your salespeople are stuck waiting for a manager approval on every deal or dealing with outdated processes, fix it. Streamline workflows so they can focus on selling. Empowerment gives your team wings, but in today's world, you also need tech to help them soar. So let's talk about how tech can supercharge your sales team. The auto industry isn't what it was 20 years ago. Customers are shopping online, they're comparing prices, and walking into dealerships already armed with the same information, if not more, than the sales guys. So a winning team or winning sales team needs tech to keep up. Here's how to use technology to set your team up for success. And again, some of you dealerships have already invested, but there are still some of you stores out there who aren't utilizing the CRMs for what they can actually do for you. Customer relationship management, CRM, a system is non-negotiable. It tracks your leads, automates follow-ups, and gives your team insights into customer behavior. Tools like Dealer Socket or Vin Solution can help salespeople stay organized and prioritize hot leads. Embrace digital retailing. More customers start their car buying journey online. So offer tools like a virtual showroom or online financing applications and e-signatures. This not only meets customers' expectations, but also frees up your team to focus on high-value interactions. Data analytics. Data is your secret weapon. Use analytics to track which models are selling, which leads are converting, and where your team needs support. Share these insights with your salespeople so they can adjust their approach. One dealership I read about, they identify their best lead sources, which is doubling their closing rate. Train on social media. Your salespeople should be active on platforms like X, Instagram, or TikTok. Well, hell, don't forget or don't underestimate the power of Facebook Marketplace. I mean, I've sold plenty of things off that, and I've purchased plenty of products off of Marketplace. So automate the busy work. Nobody should be wasting time on manual tasks like entering lead data or scheduling follow-ups. Use automation tools to handle repetitive work so your team can focus on selling. Technology is the game changer, but it's only as good as the team that uses it. So let's talk about how to measure success to make sure your efforts are paying off. Building a winning sales team isn't just about good vibes. You need to know if it's working. Measuring success keeps you on track and shows your team what matters. So here's how to do it in the auto industry. Track sales metrics, but be smart about it. Obviously, you're tracking units sold and revenue, but don't just focus on raw numbers. Look at close rates. What percentage of leads turn into sales? What's your average per copy? And the customer retention rates. These tell you how effective your team is and not just how busy they are. Monitor the customer satisfaction. So happy customers come back and refer others. Use tools like Net Promoter Score or online reviews to gauge how your team is doing. Measure team retention. High turnover is a red flag. As we discussed in part 2, track how long your salespeople stay and why they leave. If you're losing talent, it's a sign your culture or leadership needs work. After a training session, don't just pat yourself on the back, measure its impact. Are close rates improving? Are salespeople using new techniques? One dealership I read about on X saw a 10% sales spike after a negotiating skills workshop. That's kind of a result you want. Get feedback from your team. So ask your salespeople how they feel about their work, how they feel about their manager, and how they feel about the dealership. Use anonymous surveys to get honest answers. So if morale is high and they feel supported, you're on the right track. Metrics keep you honest, but they also tell you a story. A winning sales team isn't just hitting quotas, it's creating happy customers, retaining talent, and building reputations that set your dealership apart. So I'm going to share some stories with you. These are some real world examples. So have a dealership, let's call this one the Turnaround store in Ohio. They're bleeding salespeople because of a bad manager. The owner stepped in, fired the guy, and hired a new one who prioritized training. and team building. They implemented weekly coaching sessions and a team bonus structure. Within 6 months, their turnover dropped by 50% and sales were up by 20. The lesson here, leadership sets the tone. How about this one? Small dealership in Georgia was struggling with low morale. The new manager started a salesperson of the month program, encouraged team lunches, and gave everyone a voice in strategy meetings. Salespeople started collaborating instead of competing. And customer reviews went from 3.5 to 4.8 stars. Listen, culture's king. Come on. These stories show what's possible when you invest in your team. It's not rocket science. It's about hiring right, building a great culture, training well, empowering your team, and using tech to make their lives easier. All right, well, we've covered a lot today, guys. Building a winning sales team in the automotive industry starts with hiring people with heart and coachability, not just hustle. Foster a culture of respect, collaboration, and transparency to keep your team motivated. Invest in training that builds skills and keeps up with industry trends. Empower your salespeople with autonomy and the right tools. Leverage tech, measure success with smart metrics, sales, customer satisfaction, and retention. And to the owners out there, your sales team is your biggest asset. Stop tolerating bad managers and start building a team that makes your dealership a destination. To the salespeople, you're the heart of this industry. Demand a workplace that values you and don't settle for less. And to managers listening, step up, lead with purpose, empower your team to shine, and it's either reform or hit the bricks. All right, well, thanks for tuning in to Death of a Sales Manager. If you've got a story about a winning sales team or a tip for building one, hit me up on X or email me at deathofasalesmanager@gmail.com, and we'll be back with more insights to help you dominate the auto game. Until then, keep selling, keep growing, and keep building teams that win. This is Jesse signing off. Drive smart, sell smarter, and build a team that makes you proud. Peace.